Greg.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, can you post the Uber conference number on this?
Yeah.
It's live, so let's not touch it.
Okay. So yeah, the fact that it's working is fantastic.
I know.
What?
It's kind of one of those.
Who do you want to get on the Google conference? Should I?
I was just naming that what's to call it. Yeah, and if you could dial into that would be good.
Maybe we should get some chairs in.
Are we expecting a lot of people today?
For the Mime Troupe, you'll have 2 to 4 people.
Okay.
Then you have this gentleman who's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's a very sad email.
Yeah.
It's a moderate everything live there. So.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to take it off when that guy comes because there's a better disease. Yeah, and then Todd Spiker.
It's all live.
Okay. Yeah. Even what I'm saying now. Yeah. Sorry. The VTA.
Greg, this is Mrs. Gardner.
Hi. Yep. We shook hands.
We did.
Okay.
We'll do it again.
Again.
Why not, right?
Okay.
Take forward right here.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No problem.
It's too dark out there to see what I was reading.
This is a Google conference for on Gmail or Google Calendar.
The Uber conference?
Yeah. Is that what you wanted me to set up?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can. So if people could call in if they wanted to. Give this one to you.
Greg, this is Mr. Page. He's also here for the Mime Troupe.
Hi, welcome. Nice to meet you. Thanks for meeting me. Please have a seat.
Get a drink. The water fountain's broken, but I can get you water.
Oh, sure.
Do you want a cup of water too?
Oh, no.
You sure?
No, I just had a nice big cup of coffee. That would do me.
Where is Avalon?
It's it's straight across, but you have to go around the tracks off of Loma Verde.
Okay. I know what Loma Verde is.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
David Page.
David. Hi, I'm Sylvia Gardner. Hi.
Our neighborhood, our house is not too far from where the Oban Festival is.
Oh, okay.
Midtown.
Oh, right. That's close to me. Yeah, I live on Moreno.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get started. So, well, thank you for coming to my office hours. Both of you expressed interest in about the Mime Troupe. And so, maybe you can talk a little about what are some of the concerns that you guys have.
Well, I mean, I've been a big fan of the Mime Troupe for a number of years. Probably dating to the late 70s, early 80s. Mostly saw them in San Francisco. So I was thrilled when they started coming to Mitchell Park. And I attended the Mitchell Park event, it feels like 4 or 5 years. Sometimes you're just not there, the weekend that they come.
Yeah.
And they always have a big turnout. I mean, huge numbers of people. They're spread out all over. Have you ever seen it before?
No.
Okay, it's wonderful. They bring a stage, a full stage. They have musicians that play for like 30 minutes before. Could we shut something?
That's a little loud. Sorry.
Can't even hear
It's
me.
like a musical. So there's singing and then there's talk.
I see.
Yeah, and they do a different show every year, and I'm on their mailing list. I make donations online to keep them going because they have some, anything that's a nonprofit they struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
So the shows are wonderful. I mean, they've gotten awards, big awards. Their website is terrific. They've gotten dozens and dozens of do San Francisco Mime Troupe and you'll see it. But anyway, thrilled to be able to go in the town where I live and not have to go far. And then this year, because I'm on the list, I got the schedule, and what happened? No Mitchell Park. You probably did the same.
Yeah, where is it? Keep looking. Well, must be in there somewhere.
Yeah, I know, because they come every year,
Yeah.
sometimes twice.
Yeah.
So that's really great when they come twice. And my mind is thinking, I bet they come here because people in Palo Alto have more money than some communities that they go to, so they probably do really well.
Yeah.
Nobody's pushed to donate money. Watch the show, it's terrific. They walk around with these little metal gray cans afterward, and they just walk around with them. And you walk up to them and you put, if you got a checkbook, you put it in there. You got $2, you put it in there. You got $50, you put it in there. Completely voluntary.
Sure.
And this is a well-known, well-respected group that's been around. Do you know how many years? It started
25
in more than that. No, I think it started in the 60s.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around forever.
1959.
You looked it up.
Yeah, well, that was right.
Okay, so I mean, it was shocking to discover that they weren't coming, and there was a little article in the Weekly that said they weren't coming because the city had suddenly chinned up out of their back pocket some code enforcement rule that said that they were not allowed to walk around with those cans afterward. I was furious, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, well, same thing. It just sounded like some sort of bureaucratic glitch or something. I thought, well, maybe the city council people or somebody doesn't realize, there's a lot of people.
It wasn't city council. I think it was from our staff, though. It was like, council, we've never seen this.
Yeah.
It never came up for us. It just.
Because they come every year, and I thought, well, why was it okay last year and 2 years ago and so on, but all of a sudden it's not
why is it
okay
okay since
this year?
1959? Right?
Well, no, they haven't come to
okay.
Palo Alto that many years. They were mostly a San Francisco-based group.
Right.
And then they did well. They started branching out. They had Berkeley. I'm pretty sure
Well,
they would go
this
to.
is a Facebook Live. Let me just put it right here so I can be seen too.
They would
Maybe
kind
you
of,
want
in my impression, kind of go to cities that are liberal bastions, if you will, because their content is political, and we're hoping that isn't it. I mean, we don't. From what you said, I don't think
College towns.
college
all
towns.
around the Bay Area, Humboldt State and wherever.
Right. They're always in Santa Cruz. They've been in
Davis.
Palo Alto. And, of course, they usually they're in Dolores Park in San Francisco. They're in Presida Park. I've seen them.
Yeah, right.
In Presida Park. Because I used to have to go to the city to see them.
Yeah.
I went every year.
I lived there too.
Right. And they're just an amazing community resource. And they do political content, but it's well done.
Sure.
Great actors. And as I said, they have usually like a trio that plays a little jazzy type of thing before the performance.
Yeah.
And they play during as well.
Too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And again, when they're done, and it's a project. They bring this huge stage. They bring actors. They bring costumes. They have little doors in the stage where they go in and out, changing roles.
Sure.
Each guy or woman might play several roles.
Sure.
And they have to schlep all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I can imagine.
It's big speakers.
It's kind of festive too.
Yeah.
Sort of a community kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody gets together. And,
So I wonder what changed this year.
Well, that's what we're wondering.
Yeah. Like
Why did this code thing? In other words, who in the code enforcement or park works or whoever they are, who suddenly realized that they passed these little cans and decided this is a no-no?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was, I was just speculating, but is it connected to some type of anti-homeless thing? You don't want people asking for money on the street?
I do not know. I do not know because I do not. I mean, I can say nothing political-wise. Nothing came to council, right? There's nothing that I've seen that come to council. So, so it's pretty much a staff level decision. So something along staff made them change their mind.
I got an email. Oh shoot! I should have brought the name of the person.
Greg, this is Mr. Lewis. He's also.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, great.
Good. Hello. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you want to get another chair?
Yeah, I'll grab a chair for myself. That's cool. I'll say one of these things.
Maybe let's do it over so it can go.
I'll take one of these. It's fine. Yeah, I can take the group.
We have four. We don't
Thank
need.
you.
It's okay. We don't need each other. We have.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We were just talking about our experiences watching the Mime Troupe over the years.
Yeah. I wonder how that can continue.
Right.
Yeah, performing arts seems to be a very important part of the community. So did you guys hear about anything that changed? Like why
all that I saw, I don't know if you saw the same thing. It was in, I get the weekly online Express, and there was some little thing, and it was interesting. It was like kind of buried in the middle of a description of businesses, the restaurants that were. Did you see it also?
I did. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was a statement from the Mime Troupe, I think. At least it was
In the weekly,
it
or
appeared in the daily.
Oh,
or the Post, I guess I should say.
I saw it in the weekly.
And then in the weekly too.
And it just briefly said that it was related to the fact they weren't coming anymore because the city had decided they couldn't pass those little metal cans around.
Yeah. So is that because the city wants to make a broad statement that people simply can't panhandle in a park?
I don't know, because I know on council we didn't see anything like this. We didn't see, it wasn't a political decision, right? It wasn't something that council saw. It was pretty much a staff level decision. So I'm trying to think what changed staff wise, right? What?
Yeah, well, what I was saying was, if this code was around, how long was this code enacted?
Right.
Sure.
I mean, why did they suddenly
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
wake
laws
up
like
and
that.
smell the coffee?
I mean,
or...
so there's I think back in April, we were updating the comp plan because in our ordinances we actually have it illegal to actually start a company at your house. So you guys know like HP Garage.
Yeah.
So that's actually illegal. You can't do that, right? Or like Facebook, how they started off a house in Palo Alto?
Sure,
That's
yeah.
also illegal, right? And all these companies that started, or most recently, I'm not sure if you guys read about like the school, the Mozart School or Icing. They were like,
Oh, right, in
Yeah.
the Palo
In the
Alto
church, yeah, in the
Baptist,
church.
First Baptist.
so they've been there for I don't know, a long time,
Mhm.
and that's also illegal. So there's a lot of stuff that happens that sometimes isn't enforced, but sometimes it's enforced, and I don't know. Like that's a good question. Why now? Like what prompted this?
Yeah,
Right.
my point is that, sure, if they were very simple and hardly even known, and 3 or 4 people showed up and did something and asked for money, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But when they have to bring that much equipment, scenery,
Yeah.
costumes, the whole shebang,
Yeah.
how can they do that?
Yeah.
Without,
That's not ordinary panhandling.
No,
No.
and you've been, of course, I've been for many years. They never ask for money. I mean, they don't directly walk up to each person.
Yeah.
Mr. Bissett and his son.
Great.
Steve.
David Page.
Thanks. I already have one of these.
I think it's VCC. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'll get more shit.
Andrew, we got some chairs for you.
No, you guys can take this one or this one. It's fine. Thanks.
Over.
You sit.
I don't know if you're able to get this working.
I wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe just man the Facebook Live.
So this young man's getting an early political education.
Absolutely.
How old are you?
And he has no choice. How old are you?
4. Oh, wow. Okay. My kids are 10 and 12. So I remember when they were that age.
Anyway, I've said a lot, so.
Well, I was wondering who has talked to the San Francisco Mime Troupe and find out how they made their decision. Because did they surely talk to someone, I guess, in the staff?
No.
City staff?
I haven't
Is that the assumption?
I haven't talked to them directly, but I have kind of put an inquiry into staff, asking them, so like, what changed, what happened? I haven't really got a clear answer. So I think they're actually trying to work with them to make this happen again. But so I think they're.
Greg, this is Miss Durbin.
Oh, hi. Oh, great. Welcome.
Sylvia.
Oh, there's too many people to get on the camera. Okay, sorry. Sorry, you were.
Clinton?
No.
No, what? Oh,
You were asking a question.
well, I was just wondering if anyone had contacted the San Francisco Mime Troupe to find out
I haven't
how they
personally,
made their decision.
I haven't personally asked them, but I know that staff has, and I think staff has actually been trying to work through this issue. I haven't heard the latest as to why. I don't quite know why this year was the year they decided to enforce it, and I'm not quite sure where they are in terms of making this happen. But I think they are trying to make it happen. I do know that.
I think they have 4 dates in the email that they sent out.
What were the dates?
Now, let me check my computer, but they actually sent out.
Who said that?
They're trying to work through it, and I think the
trying to
Mime
go
Troupe
back.
has a pretty busy schedule now. Like
It's all set usually.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
hard
sorry,
for
who's
them.
trying to work?
The
Staff.
city staff. So
Staff.
the people who made the decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
This was a staff level decision. It wasn't a council level
I
decision.
see. I see.
So someone on staff
Okay.
decided. So we have a lot of these kind of like ordinances.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're enforced, sometimes they're not. And so this is one of them which I guess they decided to enforce this year for some reason.
Mm. I see.
And they don't have to get the council.
No. So I mean, so whether the city enforces ordinances or not, it's kind of up to the staff. But to do a new ordinance, you need council decision, right? Council vote. So this is something that pretty much happened independently of council. Now, of course, we could change the ordinance. Right? That's something we could do. And maybe we should, because it seems I haven't unfortunately actually seen this performance before, but
Neither do I.
oh, okay.
Oh, well, you could probably look at them online.
I think they
Yeah.
have brought it up. Yeah, I mean, they have a really good website.
Yeah, and you know they're based in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Treat Street.
And this is what, their 50th year?
Oh wow. Okay.
59 they started.
1959.
Sorry, what was your name?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah, 58 years now. So yeah, basically what I'm reading just from the emails that staff has sent out is that the Mime Troupe has a pretty busy schedule. Like, so I guess once we canceled on them, it's hard to get them back, but they're trying to work through 4 dates, which they didn't say.
So is the staff, Palo Alto city staff now rescinding the requirement, or where are we? If they're thinking about new dates, what's happening?
So they're trying to set up online funding for them, so they can donate on their website to get around the law, which I don't think makes sense.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Can I just, I don't know if you've gotten this, but I got a recent email to me, which I was very impressed that they actually responded from Kristen O'Kane,
I got the same one.
the one that says, let's see, regulations do not allow for the solicitation of donations in parks except for those supportive of city programs or city-sponsored activities. The rule applies to all individuals and groups regardless of their intent or purpose. The reason for this rule is to foster an environment of respite in parks and open space away from commercial activity. This is not commercial activity, that's a real stretch. And it says they're currently working with the Mime Troupe. And I just want to sort of enter for the discussion the email that I sent back to them.
You responded. Yeah.
I did. I thanked them for their answers, but I wanted to check the facts. So my understanding is that the Mime Troupe was given permission in prior years, but not this year, number one. Number two, there was no change from prior years to this method in the method of solicitation. And number three, there were no new relevant ordinances enacted between last year and this year. So I asked, is this correct? Because I'm not, I hunted through the ordinance, so I couldn't find anything, but I'm not sure that I'm correct. But I suspect that that's correct on all 3 points.
Sure.
And if it is,
What did she say?
I haven't got any response.
No, I 4 people that I know, and now I know you, have gotten the same canned response. And then when you reply with your own arguments, then there's nothing really secondary.
Well, I didn't.
And that's from the Mime Troupe?
Yeah, this Kristen.
Oh, okay.
The Mime
No.
the city staff.
No, the city
City
staff,
staff, okay.
Kristen.
Yeah, so I didn't actually make any arguments in response to this. I was just trying to get their
Ah.
confirmation of facts.
Yeah.
I got testy.
I figured this was not, I wanted to get the facts
No,
first.
your approach is better.
So I said, if the above is correct, it implies that a decision was made to either change the interpretation of the existing ordinances or change the enforcement of the existing ordinances. If this is correct, was it a change in interpretation or change in forecast, in enforcement? And if either is correct, I said it's very important to be transparent about the actual reason for the decision. You shed some light on it. So somebody made a decision.
Yeah.
If my facts, somebody made a decision
Yeah.
to change the way they treat this from
Yeah.
prior
It
years.
sounds like it.
And I haven't heard any. I mean, I bet there's a reason for it and a logic, and I bet they're not. And nobody said what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
It's obfuscated
Yeah.
because
You can, as a council member, somebody can investigate what's why.
Yeah,
Like the why.
I could ask
What's
why.
up? Why
Yeah.
now? Why?
I could ask why, but I mean, our staff will not do anything unless we have a council vote, right? So if it has to come up to an agenda, then we have to vote on it.
But you could,
To ask the staff?
can't you call them and
Yeah,
say,
staff-
what's up? Why
Well,
now?
no,
Why now?
actually, so the way it works is we have to work through the city manager, and the city manager will not do anything unless we get a
We're not
council
talking,
majority.
there's doing something, there's answering questions.
Yeah.
So if it would help to know the background and
Oh, yeah,
articulate
absolutely.
questions. Do you have the authority to say, tell me what's up, what happened? Make this woman or the city manager answer this question?
Well, I could ask,
Yes.
but whether the city manager answers or not is up to his discretion. So, so the way it works is the city manager is the CEO of the city, and so the city council are kind of like board members, right? So we can make them do stuff, but only with a council majority.
Mhm.
Without a council majority, we can't. I can't make him do anything. I can ask, and he may or may not answer the question, right? And a lot of times he doesn't actually. So.
Why not?
Well, I got an email back from Rich R saying, oh, wow, I agree with you.
Yeah, but he can't do.
Because I said,
but he can't do anything unless
No, I
unless
realize
there's a
that.
council majority. So in order for us to force this issue, we would have to get 5 members of the city council to say this is a big enough issue. We need to agendize it, and we need to force the city staff to change their ways. That's what we're thinking. This is for anything, not just for this.
But it just sounds so silly. I mean, we're
Oh,
talking
I
about
tell you.
some really
So,
small. Little,
Yeah, to me, it's kind of illogical. About, I mean, if this worked well every other year, why this year, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, right?
and all the other
Yeah.
cities in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So what are your hypotheses as to why this might have happened?
No, so I
This is a conjecture.
think Kristen is new, right? I think
I don't know.
I think she is. I think
She's she listed her title as acting manager of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, so maybe there could be personnel change. So the person who handled it before changed.
Why don't you just like
Overly interpretation.
Overly bureaucratic.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah, I don't actually know why, and I'm actually not allowed to talk to city staff, so I can't. The city manager will disallow that, right? So I cannot ask them directly.
Well, I guess we can talk to them.
You can ask them, yeah.
However, they
But-
are not bound to respond.
No,
Right,
that's
right.
the same issue I have with the city
And
manager.
so basically, to get the issue, to get anything done, we have to get you plus 4 more
4 more, yeah.
to be interested in it. So have you talked to any other council members?
So we're actually out of session right now. So
Mm-hmm.
the first session is actually August 14th.
Okay.
So August 14th, I could talk to them.
So I suspect that it's too late for this year unless it's out of
That's
our
what
hands.
I
It's
thought.
out of our hands. Either it happens or doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger issue is like what really is the policy and what represents Palo Alto.
Yeah, I don't think this represents the spirit of Palo Alto, at least in my opinion. This doesn't seem to be what the community wants, right?
I think it's also a potential First Amendment violation.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't know. It could be.
I looked up issues about street performance.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of very thoughtful regulations in different cities like Boston,
Mm.
Minneapolis have gone through because they've had this issue of
Sure.
safety, noise, all legitimate issues. So it's complex, right?
Yeah.
There's safety, there's noise, there's obstruction of public thoroughfares, there's blocking of right entrances to business and
Sure.
stuff. There wasn't much there's something about parks, but certainly about plazas. So there's this, and you'll see several ordinances that have got this fairly nuanced distinction and trying to recognize the distinction between hawking wares for commercial reasons
Sure.
versus entertainment, which is considered good because it attracts
Yeah.
people and it's a free speech thing. And so there's a lot of prior art,
Yeah,
if
there
you
are
will.
competing needs in a park.
Right.
Yeah, and so people work this issue, and I thought some of the ordinances out of the cities were fairly thoughtful and explicit. Now, Palo Alto doesn't have something that refers specifically to this issue. I mean, they're trying to allow. So one, the guess or is a conjecture as to what one of the possibilities may have been for the thought is, gee, this sounds awfully political. This is a political year, so let's try and tamp it down. And
It might have been less thoughtful.
No.
Like a new person reading an ordinance. and
Yeah.
saying,
all I would say if it is,
I think that's more what it is.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I mean,
Yeah.
I had the same dark thought that maybe they're trying to suppress the clearly liberal politics
well,
of the Mime
no, they
Troupe.
might have been just trying to kind of keep
Oh, I see.
the whole thing down, but there
Yeah.
are unintended
There's
consequences.
all
Like
kinds of
if
rallies in Palo Alto all the time now.
Yeah.
Against what-
if you use solicitation of donations as a filter for political speech, I would just point out that the right wing groups are well funded and
Yeah.
don't need solicitations, so that
Yeah.
can backfire.
Well, let me ask you this. I would be surprised if other council members don't think this is a little bit outrageous. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I would guess.
Well, I got a survey of one who responded to me that he agreed.
So should we
Right.
be
Who was that?
contacting all of the other?
Sharp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
Those are
sent an
way
email
forward.
to the
Yeah.
parks. I also sent it to the entire
Okay.
city council, all of them. Just
Individual. One
No,
after
just
the other.
city.council
same
at
here.
Palo
So
Alto.
what's our way forward?
Okay, so so individually, I could ask nicely to the city manager to change this. He may or may not do it.
Okay.
And because this is a kind of a small issue, so it really makes his radar. The way to, if you really want to make sure this never happens again, what we will have to do is get this onto the agenda. So if you get on the agenda through, like the mayor, Greg Sharp could put this on the agenda. He could do that. Or if he doesn't want to, you could do it through what's called a colleagues memo. So that means me,
Oh, what?
a colleagues memo. So I would have to get one other council member to agree that this is an issue, and then this could come onto the agenda. Now our agendas are humongous already, right?
Yeah.
I'll show you. Like this is this is Monday's agenda. Right? It's
This is your volunteer job.
this is my volunteer job here. So this is Monday's agenda, right? So getting stuff on the agenda is like pretty hard, right? So even if I could get a colleagues memo going, and then
Have you had any discussion of this with Karen Holman?
no, I haven't. No, so
The reason I ask is because she responded to, I think, in response to my putting it on the GoGov list, which was in response to your feedback, and then she responded to our neighborhood group, which is
Next door.
No, it's Crescent Park Neighborhood
Oh,
Association
oh.
and or Duveneck St. Francis, both of them, I forget which. And it was sort of subtle, but she said that it's best to address everything to the council as a whole. So she was advising against meeting with individual councilmen specifically.
I don't know if that's bad because I mean here's the thing. Every council person is super busy, right? And you see the size of our agendas. And so if you want this to be on the agenda, if you want like me and some other council person to put this onto the agenda, you can imagine, I mean, like this give you a frame I get 3,000 emails, okay, roughly a day.
How many?
3,000? Okay, so you gotta imagine like the amount of stuff that people get. And so like,
Poor Ann.
So
we sliced in because I happened to pick up your go right when you were initiating.
Well, not just that.
Second issue.
Well, not just that, but also like this was a big enough topic which Andrew felt like was good enough for me to hear. But you gotta imagine that for every council person, there's a lot to do for their time, their attention, and if you just email people, they may or may not read it. To be honest, right? Because you get a lot of email, right?
Right.
So I would say that if you feel strongly enough about this, I would definitely encourage you to contact other council people to meet with them, to get it on the agenda. Because if they don't, there's so many other things to do for our time, right?
Right.
Well, we should know that the scale of this is there are probably an attendance of 300 people for one of these.
Yeah, I was
You know, I
hoping
mean, this
somebody
isn't-
had an idea.
This
I mean,
isn't 10
Yeah.
people, that are
oh my
disgruntled,
God!
you
I
know.
mean, no, Mitchell Park is just blankets as far as the eye can
They
see.
pull
Where
in trucks with their stage. They put up a full
Sure.
stage. It's 30 feet wide and
Really
20
long.
feet tall. What's that?
I gotta go. I never did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I gotta go too now. I wanna go.
It's quite a thing.
Yeah.
They pull it up and
Yeah.
the place is completely clean once they move out. And it's about 2 hours long. The whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, just give me a
it's
picture.
comfy,
of it.
you bring your
Yeah,
picnic
talking
lunch
about.
and your bottle of wine
Seen
and
street
sit
also.
there. And,
The implication
Yes,
here,
yeah.
they
So
start
they're
with
long
groups like the Mime Troupe and everything
Well,
that does things like this.
and the
Yeah.
analogy that a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
friend of mine who also wrote to council, who lives in Palo Alto, she said that she attends other musical events around Palo Alto, and there's a can, and there's
Yeah.
CDs. They're selling CDs. That's commercial, straight up.
Yeah.
So that nobody complains about that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
probably the worst part here is probably the inconsistency, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's one thing if it's consistent, but it's not, and it seems like inconsistent between years, inconsistent between different groups, which doesn't
Yeah,
strike me.
there's a whole series of litmus test that
Yeah.
we've done here.
Yeah.
And the inconsistency lies in what tests do you have.
Yeah.
For instance, the whole thing, including setup, and
Yeah.
everything, probably takes no more than 4 hours. It
Right.
probably takes them an hour to set up, 2 hour, hour and a half for
Sure.
the performance, and then to leave.
Sure.
It's like, obviously, you don't want someone setting up a permanent storefront in your park,
Sure.
to sell things.
Actually, I think it's all, the setup is, it's not just an hour, how would you say? Is that what you said?
Probably, yeah.
No, I mean, excuse me, I don't think, no, it's a lot more, because there's
You think it is?
electricity and stuff.
Yeah.
They know,
Yeah.
and when they, I'm sure the city knows.
If they bring
because
their own generator.
they tell them, we start in the morning, so I don't think we should misrepresent. The whole time it is, it's.
Well, I was saying 4 hours total, but you think maybe it's
Okay.
Okay.
But it's a small part of the
They
big
should know,
market.
because every
Yeah.
other year
Yeah.
they've done it,
Yeah.
so the city would know.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
So
Okay.
did you actually look at the ordinance?
I hunted through
Okay.
a bunch of ordinances, and there are
These
things
were-
about commercial representation, but
It's
then
one-
this would have to be an interpretation. This is a commercial solicitation, which I think it's not.
Yeah.
But
What
that's
would,
an interpretation.
Yeah.
I guess what would be really good, so let's say we make this onto the council agenda, is what do we change the ordinances, right? Because that's
Yeah,
what
right.
that's what staff runs by. That's the operating system, right? Is they use that as how they do stuff, right? So, like, what specifically in ordinance should we change? That
You mean which one, or what should it say?
what I guess what in there made it ambiguous as to whether this could happen or not. Because that's what. So if we want to change on council, right?
Yeah.
That's what has to happen. You have to figure out what was the thing that.
So you need to know what ordinance she was applying.
Yeah.
You have
I
precedent
googled
from other
some,
cities about ones that have
Other
how
cities.
work.
Yeah, where they've dealt
And
with this
San
in
Francisco might be-
lawsuits, and had to kind of think it through.
Right.
Like you're
It's
mentioning,
complicated.
Austin, Texas.
You
Yeah.
might want to use local cities that have allowed Mime Troupe specifically,
Like
San
Berkeley.
Francisco, Berkeley, and just to see what ordinance what their language is.
That's true. I've
Right?
looked
That
up
would
their
make sense to
ordinance.
say
No,
what's worked for you.
And I don't think. And because of, I
How
don't
do
think.
you look? I'm sorry. are you-
Oh, he's my legislator, so he's
Great,
helping
so
out.
you could maybe look up the work.
I can
Great, I just-
But actually, I wanted to know, Andrew, did we get anyone who was opposed to the Mime Troupe?
No, and people saw it. No,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
definitely something that
Just-
should be
just a-
changed. Just a question of
Okay.
figuring it out.
Yeah, sometimes what happens is like if there's someone that strongly objects to this, then maybe staff will. So I thought maybe that's maybe what could have happened to us. Maybe someone complained about
It really sounds to me like the new broom.
The new
The new
person.
broom, the new
there.
person.
Yeah.
Well, like she might have been overly diligent. If we want to be charitable, we might say she's being overly diligent, applying ordinances and removal. If we want to think
Yeah.
that there's more subterfuge or
But you may
conniving,
No,
we
no,
could go
I-
down that path, but we just don't know.
No, we don't know.
But she may not have any idea of the history of it, or even who the Mime Troupe is.
And the whole thing is they're definitely a nonprofit.
Yeah, I don't imagine whether the ordinances, I was wondering
Yeah.
about that. Is there language about, there's commercial,
Right.
and then there's nonprofit, well, they do have to make money, supplies, grants, public grants, often.
Yeah.
They're lucky.
Yeah, they get a big grant from the hotel tax, I believe. San Francisco.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I don't think they get anything from Palo Alto hotel tax, but they get it from the city.
Well, I mean, the city also gives grants out, for art and other things. So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure they got anything from the city, but
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
That you, in your business get 2 lives, plus if you have your own personal life, 3 lives.
yeah.
So 3 lives, but what if the city council members together and invite the city manager and this Christine person to go to a San Francisco Mime Troupe performance, of which there are many on the calendar, although not in Palo Alto.
Yeah, they're usually
And frankly,
very
when and if you go, that become a little article in our local papers.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely possible. I think
You can bring your kids, it's fun.
That's right.
It's fun.
I think to fix this draft, though, it would be to update the ordinance.
Right.
It's super clear, so that this kind of snafu doesn't happen. It doesn't sound like really malicious here, but
The bureaucratic language is actually sort of poetic. She said the reason for this rule is to foster an environment of respite, parks and open space, away from commercial activity.
Well, sure.
So she's deeming this
On the face
commercial
Is that
activity.
her interpretation?
This is her words.
It's her, but is it her, is she, are the words of respite hers?
Yes. Well, they're
Yes.
they're in her email and they're not quoted from ordinances. She's stating the reason. as interim director of community service department.
You know, it almost sounds like she's equating the mime troupe with panhandlers.
And
Well,
that,
except
and by the way, that is precisely the kind of the whole range of subtle issues that are dealt with in these other cities' audit ordinances, because they've had to busking, performing music for money. There's this sort of this range of activities. And, it's a lot of work to think through it from scratch. Because there's a lot of complexity to it.
I like your First Amendment mention. That could be useful.
That if you're, in some of these ordinances make a specific mention of this, but if you use, free speech has a special place in our democracy, and so somebody to stand on the soapbox and say, buy my widget is different from somebody getting up on a soapbox and saying, defend the oppressed or oppress the defenseless or whatever their point of view is. But that's considered free speech as opposed to commercial speech.
Yeah.
Oppress the defenseless. Yeah.
That's
There's a lot of that now.
That's a catchy phrase.
Yeah, let's try not to do that one.
It's a lot easier to oppress the defenseless.
Yes.
Long for
And it's at less than 143 characters. Sorry.
So, anyways, to make further progress on this, really, it's kind of like what specific ordinance should change. And
well, I will try to dig up my own. I don't have a lot of time for this either. I have another overwhelming, overstuffed life. But I'll try to dig up what I found, a couple of examples. Maybe see if there's anything that jumps out.
That'd be great.
And I can send a letter to you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
comment, and then I can forward it to the council.
Yes, definitely. Because again, to get staff to do anything, you need 5 votes, right? Anything, even small.
Yeah.
So what would probably help us specifically is for you to just give us reasonable marching orders.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, write a letter to each council.
Yeah.
Just tell us.
Right. So if you really want to get this change, do what you're doing with me. Meet with them because you got to get to the top of their staff. Right? Everyone has stuff, a bunch of stuff that they're being behind. So if you can meet with them, I think that's important.
You obviously were not familiar with the mime troupe of this issue, but anyone who's ever gone has a completely different. You can't see the scope of what they do, what an enterprise.
No, but I haven't seen it, but I can tell you this strikes me as being inconsistent, which is very, very unfair. Which to me is not what the series should be about, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, I would say if it is consistent, it's still wrong, even if it's being applied consistently. It's not right.
Yeah. Well, so I think to really kind of fix this, I think there needs to be an ordinance change, at least from what I'm hearing, and any help I can get in terms of like what we should change specifically would be very, very helpful. Because then I have to also then convince either the mayor or another colleague to say, yeah, this is important enough to put in our.
Have the mayor said this?
Yes,
you already have it.
I sent it to all city council members and Greg Scharf. Your staff let me know that there was going to be a meeting about this, but Scharf said, I agree with you.
No, but it's different from saying to say that and another to say it's on the agenda.
Okay, so what is it? So having said that, what send a meeting with them?
So if you could get him to say, put this on the agenda.
Okay,
that would be great. And if he doesn't, then I need to get another council member to say, yeah, I agree with you. Let's get this.
I'll definitely speak to Tommy Boyce because he's been on. I'm the treasurer of the Midtown Residents Association, and he's been involved in our group before he was elected.
Would it be helpful if all of us email Greg?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's
direct. Okay, so
it's kind of like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So,
there you go.
I suspect that Karen Holman may be sympathetic.
I think I can't imagine any councilperson not thinking this is wrong. Okay, so I think everyone would be sympathetic, right? I think the problem is
how do you change the language in a way that
how do you change the law, and how do you compete for people's time? Because we have like a 30-40 item agenda, right?
Right.
So how do you make this the 34
so
or 44?
Who on this should we have a little small just mailing list?
Well, I think
for sharing data
to make things useful, right? To really move things forward.
Yes.
we got to be very specific, right, as to what we need to change. Like what are the ordinance
exactly
keys?
what ordinance
Yep.
is it? that
What
needs-
ordinance?
Well, only the
Well, do we
assistant
know?
director can tell us what
I know
ordinance
what
was
it
applied.
in the
You know, I
website?
mean, I think that's the only way
Yeah.
to
So
find out.
so we have to we go more specific to make it the easier it is. Because right now this is kind of an open issue. Like we're not going to write an order saying let the SF Mime Troupe and people like that. It doesn't make
Well,
No,
sense.
you can't write something.
I
like that.
hunted through just doing guessing on keyword searches through the whole Palo Alto city code.
Yeah.
And there's something about commercial solicitations in public
Yeah.
spaces.
Anything you can do to
Well,
help
maybe
the
that's-
council members.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
send it
anything you
to
do
them.
to find council members see like
Yeah.
make these
Right.
3 language changes and look good, right? That is
Yeah, the more
that-
specific
more
you can
specific.
be, yeah.
But
The
short,
better.
short of reading the entire city code word for word, I'm not sure that I found
Oh.
the right one. You know, I mean, I was kind of doing keyword search.
Well, it seems like it would be useful for this Kristen person to very specifically,
Yeah.
chapter and verse, tell us section 3.2.5,
And you guys can ask her that,
which
right?
one it
You know what?
is.
If I try asking her, basically it's in under shut me down.
Okay. and
No,
that's-
I get it. I
So-
get it.
So we don't want to barrage her with this, because she's not able to change the ordinance, but somebody needs to find that out. Does that mean, one of us could ask her? to-
Absolutely.
The more people that ask her,
The better it
more
is.
she'll respond.
That's right.
I think so. Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. I would definitely agree.
Kristen,
Yeah, I think
I found the ordinance. Yeah, so it says, as per Palo Alto Municipal Code, no commercial solicitation or business transaction is permitted in parks or plazas. So you're basically going to have to change that ordinance.
So the question is
ordinance is number what?
Yeah.
You're gonna email me?
I can email this out to you guys.
Do you have our emails?
Yeah.
This is why we do
I
this.
didn't get to.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so she clearly chose to define this as commercial
And we,
activity.
no, we put this all into, we'll email it out. to you.
Oh, sorry.
But I mean, so okay, so I think the balance is we want to make sure. I think what the staff is trying to do is trying to make sure that this isn't this
I'll
doesn't
take care of it. Okay.
yeah, this doesn't encourage aggressive handling. Right? I think that's one thing the staff's trying to prevent. Then on the other hand, they're trying to we want to allow some new things that are good for the community. So I think that's the balance, right? So the question is, how do you change the ordinance specifically?
Yeah, and these other ordinances really dealt with precisely these issues, how to define it in a nuanced
If
way.
you've done the research,
The
that'd be awesome.
distinction between
right?
Yeah.
panhandling and performance.
And what's the difference between groups that play in parks all summer long selling CDs and the Mime Troupe passing a big can?
Actually, do we know, we don't want to do one for YouTube, but in order for them to come last year and for previous years, they had to get something from the city to say they could set up, right? So if you could find what they had last year, their permit, is that right?
Yeah.
It basically says that in Mitchell Park, it has to be the city-sponsored program. So if the city sponsored, so they're just getting around that language or changing that language.
It would be nice to say, here's what the city permitted last year.
Well, everybody was up in arms
That
about
must be
Palantir
a-
taking over Mitchell
Yeah,
Park
yeah.
for a whole
I mean-
weekend, if that's what they did. So how did they get it and the
Yeah.
Mime Troupe can't?
Who did,
Palantir.
That's
Palantir. I
It's a
didn't know
private
anything.
company.
I just read about it in the paper. It was a real company that
Just to make
works in Palo Alto, and they got to set up for a whole weekend in Mitchell Park, and other people couldn't use it.
Maybe
probably
that's where
rented.
the
Yes,
consistency.
rented.
Yeah, they rent.
So just you don't.
But it certainly, the language of the ordinance says they couldn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, to just to move this item forward because we're running.
I'm here.
Yeah, we're out time. So
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
specifically would be you guys look at orders. Think about how you would change this, right? It's more easier to make it for council to change, easier it is for us to pass this, right? So what would really be good is like these specific changes to this line, this item of the ordinance.
How about commercial as opposed to nonprofit?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the ordinance.
Well, that's where finding out what other
Yeah.
cities have done, whose job.
3
would-
words.
Yeah, what's in the other
Find a
cities is
comparable.
more than a
One sentence.
10 words, one sentence change, but it's less than a
Do you
page,
have a
it's
list?
not pages and pages.
You look
I
at-
found a couple, I found like 3 examples.
that's
So,
what I asked you.
I'll forward them to you.
In fact,
I can.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, like, we set up this gov building, so you guys could actually put it, like, you could put the ordinance in there, and you guys could debate it. Like, you guys could see each other's comments, and then that would really make it, that would really crystallize it, because what council wants is something that's fully baked.
Right.
Right. Works.
Right.
So we don't feel like
That's why
this is
there's like 5 separate emails coming.
Yeah,
their
this
way.
is the
They're
44th
one spot.
item maybe on our agenda, right?
Yeah.
So we need something that's like we need it to be very simple, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's what we said like GovGo, where we can literally like post it and do the red line in red and wordsmithing. So then, as you go to other council people, it's like, okay, here's what it is. We thought about the communities behind this, right? And then it's just not it's just not agenda, vote for it, and we're done. Otherwise, we're gonna have to
Could
get
you
a council.
email the specific ordinance number?
Yeah, it's a whole attachment. It's like a 10-page attachment, but you just have to Apple it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're gonna email that
so
to
that I
us.
know that we're talking
Oh,
about the
sorry.
same one.
Yeah, for sure.
Like ordinance section 33.11.6.4.c.
The other thing that we do is someone to look through, let's say San Francisco's, just look through so that we can copy the wording. Obviously, it's work. The legalese is there. It covers the issues. Right? We don't want to de novo any of us, frankly, try to write it and edit it together.
Well, I mean,
This
it
is
might be
how it's gonna
possible. I'd be willing to contact the Mime Troupe. I'm a donor. I give them the money, so I can contact them and say,
I think
what
that'd be great,
what
yeah.
ordinance in San
Well,
Francisco
no, they may not
allows
even
you?
know. They may not know.
They
They
might.
just know that they are allowed.
Yeah.
I would say we gotta look through.
Well,
But it doesn't hurt to ask.
No, it doesn't hurt to
They-
ask.
They may know more than I
That's
think.
their job. They
So
go around
if you guys can crystallize kind of like what the language change is, and then also do the outreach to other council members between 5, and then get it on the agenda. I mean, unfortunately, we might this year maybe we squeeze in some help, but this is how we could change, right? We have to change the ordinance, the staff.
First council's a week from tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be too late for this summer, unless they're thinking of the fall.
Well, first council meeting is a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, to me, if we miss one summer, but we get a clear improvement to the ordinance, that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
And then the fact that it was the staff member caused the issue to
Yeah.
occur will end up being a good thing.
Just let me bring up one thing: is this really an ordinance change, or is this simply a matter of the city designating this as a city
Permitted
supported
use.
event?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
basically, to change staff behavior, council has to vote on it, right? I mean, if you really want a systematic change, otherwise
Yeah.
you'll get, depending on which staff member is looking at this program.
Well, it's just that
I think you have I just want to point out that you have a potential on that consequence and trying to make the city supportive.
Okay, guys.
Because it's very much the group with a political point of view.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'll
And
have
the
to
point that I made in my original email is we're trying to be green here, and I can walk to Mitchell Park, but I have to drive to Berkeley.
Okay,
No,
first of all,
and it's part that we should
Then
do
we'll send well
something
paid
about this.
so thinking,
So they're working on it,
Really
like doing online
And sue the
solicitation
city
programs, and that's a potential.
Well, there's leaders.
Yeah, that's not a long.
Okay, do you want us to
process.
start
Yeah, so it's
mining
much better.
What's the city permitting?
like San Francisco ordinances?
So-
absolutely, and you need to make it
Yeah,
really
I can
clear.
push some stuff too.
Maybe that- okay,
I'll do
because
some.
I'm just
I
trying to
can't
say
promise
this
on
is
that.
Otherwise,
No.
it's really around.
That would be great, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then-
we really have to
Government
so
wants
to make this happen.
Political
That's
That's actually
language change the
not
ordinance. Talk to other council
In
members,
general,
get them
it's
to
not-
like, make this important.
Yeah.
It's important to me, but I have to get other people to follow it as well. So
And it sounds like your urgency is not there, because it's not gonna happen this year, so we have time, it's not like we need to send, in terms of pacing, it doesn't sound like there's any
Yeah,
point
but
to sending the
there's-
letters
there's-
until we have the better wording.
well, I think right now, the outreach in the community, right? So
Strike while the iron's hot.
exactly.
Okay.
So I would strongly encourage you guys to keep the momentum up.
What about letters to the editors? Should we keep those?
Absolutely.
Ah.
Oh, absolutely, right. Absolutely. Do all of that. But again, to make it on, you gotta remember, we have like big
Got it.
Right,
I heard.
But there's no urgency if it's not gonna change before the end of summer anyway.
The urgency is to strike while we're on.
Yeah.
Just have as many
But
people.
in terms of
as
having it,
possible.
we don't have to have the big wording of the ordinance changed yet.
Well, more likely, here's what happens. One of our calendar, our agenda is consent, where we don't have to argue about it. Right?
Yes.
So if it be a consent item, it could be something that has to be really quickly. It has to
So
be an
you
action item.
if it were baked in, seriously, so
Yeah.
it could just go get done.
That's
I
right.
think it could get
It's
done
not action,
now.
yeah,
now.
yeah.
There's a quick victory.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's easier to get that agendized than an action item.
Right, right.
If it's an action item, then we have to simply
Yeah, yeah,
debate the language, right?
So we do need that one for the.
No, yeah. The first council meeting is in a week from tomorrow, so that's still plenty of time to do something like this. So after we're done wrapping up office hours, I'll send out an email or something to you guys.
So you're saying if we,
Okay,
if we
yeah.
post our ideas in specific sections on the GoGov Mime Troupe thing that I started.
And that's the reason we did that, so that we can talk to each other.
Yeah.
We can stuff like this fully
I'm
baked,
not
but then
familiar
it's not.
with
I'll put in the email. out
Oh,
office
okay.
hours. Yeah, I'll send out everything that we went over. Just how to do that.
I think
Yes,
No worries.
thank you.
Thanks for
By the way-
coming, guys.
Go to one of their shows and find it.
I can do that. I am actually excited to do that.
After getting back to Palo Alto.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a reward.
Yeah. They're variably good, but they're always heartfelt and fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Some are better than others.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
As principal
Oh,
is
no,
on
thank
the
you.
yard.
I'll send out. Yeah, so I'm sorry, what is hold up?
Yeah, it's still a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Put it up.
Appreciate it. Hey, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Are you enjoying the job?
I am. Yes, thank you.
How many hours a week does it take?
You know, we had been summertime, but right now we've been working on another initiative. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another thing we're working on.
Yeah.
So it's been busy, but good.
Good. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
have a good one.
Thank you.
Enjoy your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Had
Thanks
that
for coming.
before.
It's tired.
See you.
Thank you for coming. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. Put it up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. All right.
Do you know if you got any questions on this Facebook Live thing?
Stop the video.
Yeah, just hello.
Hi.
I'm Andrew.
Nice to meet you, Andrew. I'd shake hands. Okay.
I'm John.